Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Danny. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I know I have been gone for a hot minute, like 4 months to be exact. Sorry. There's a lot of stuff that has transpired over the past couple of months, and so I figured that now is the best time to come on and kind of talk about what's kind of been going on. Oh, my goodie's showing. I kind of want to talk about what's kind of been going on, where I've been, kind of where my mindset has been, and all of that good jazz. So let's just go ahead and get into this video. I have been gone since, I think September is the last time that I had uploaded, and it is now December. So 3 months, 3 going on 4 months, whatever. Yeah, I just needed some time away. To be totally honest, a lot of stuff has transpired in my life just within the past 4 months, and it's been overwhelming. So I decided to take a step back from just a lot of things in general, and YouTube was one of them, and decided to come back when I felt like the time was right, and I think that now is kind of the right time. I think that I'm at a point where I can kind of talk about what's been going on, what's to come, stuff like that. So back in September, actually the end of August, I had shared with you all that I lost my grandfather. He passed away on August 14th, and that has affected me tremendously. It's affected my life tremendously. I've never really lost someone before, so it hit hard. For the people that know me, like really know me, know that I was very close with my grandfather, especially leading up to him passing. Of course, we didn't know, it was unexpected, but I mean, I was talking to my grandfather at least 3 to 4 times a week. He really was one of my best friends. I can honestly and truly say that since I was a baby growing up, I've always just had a really close relationship and connection with my grandfather. So ended up losing him, actually due to COVID, on August 14th. And it has been just an adjustment period for me, going from talking to somebody every other day to not being able to hear their voice again has been very tough. And so that in itself is a lot to put on somebody. Like I said, I've never really gone through grief before. I've lost, a couple people here, like friends from like college or high school, but never like family members that I was super close with, other than my great aunt a couple of years ago, but that's it. I haven't lost anybody, so this was definitely just kind of hit. I was gonna go into the details of everything that transpired, and I've actually filmed this video before. I actually filmed the same video last week, but something in my spirit told me to refilm it and come at a different approach, because I feel like last week when I filmed this video, it was just really sad. Like, it was very sad. It was very emotional. It was just, the energy was very low. And you all know that I like to come on here and be positive and motivate you all. And it's okay to be down. It's perfectly fine with that. It's okay not to be okay. But I wanted to be able to share my story in a different light, and I didn't want to, even sharing parts about my grandfather, I didn't want it to come off just very sad. Like, I know he wouldn't want me to be sad. I know that he would want me, to continue to live life and continue to inspire others. So that is what I'm going to do. So that is why I'm redoing this. So in this one, I'm not going to share all of the details surrounding what transpired, but unfortunately we did lose him, and so that in itself has just been a journey for me. And so I needed to be able to learn grief and learn how to process grief away, versus still trying to push through it and continue to do everything that I was doing. It just got to be overwhelming and too much for me. So that's one of the reasons why I have kind of been away. It's because, I've just been dealing with that loss, because it was such a great loss for me. Each day is different. I'm not going to say each day gets better, because some days I have good days, some days aren't the greatest days. One thing that I've learned is every day is a good day. Some days are just better than others. And I have to keep preaching that to myself, because I want to try to remain positive. I don't want to get down into such a low point that I have been before, and over the past couple months I have gotten to low points, and I want to stay out of that. So I try to continue to encourage myself, affirm myself, and just get through every day. So not every day is the greatest, but I try to make the best, you know, out of the situation that I'm in. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why I've been gone. It's just been dealing with, you know, the grieving process. It hasn't been long at all. Yesterday was tough for me. Yesterday was actually his 82nd birthday. It was, of course, the first birthday that we've had that we haven't been able to, you know, spend with him. Yesterday actually marked the last time that I saw him, as well as the last time I saw him was on his birthday. So that was tough, and it also marked 4 months. Yeah, 4 months that I haven't heard from him. The last time I talked to my grandfather, was able to speak with him, was August 8th. And so yesterday was just really heavy. December 8th was just a very heavy day. And I was going to film then, but I was like, no, you know, I wanted to be able to upload on his birthday, but I was like, no, you know, I can wait, I can hold off. So that's one aspect. Another aspect that I've been heavily dealing with actually is my health. And this is something that not a lot of people know about, because I haven't really shared with many people outside of my immediate family and like immediate friends. So not a lot of people know that I've been dealing with some things the past couple of months. Starting back in April, I had been dealing with I woke up one day and I was dealing with like vertigo, like the room was spinning like crazy, and that went on for about 20 minutes. I fell back asleep, woke back up, and was fine, but I realized that I was just really lightheaded, and it wasn't to the point where it was like heavily affecting me. It was just like I kind of just felt a little dizzy, a little lightheaded, and I felt like it was just the aftermath of that vertigo. But that feeling that way continued on for a while. I was just kind of lightheaded, but it wasn't heavily affecting me. Like I was able to go throughout my day. I was able to be fine. I ended up talking with a neurologist back then, and she said that it seemed to be migraines. And I was like, oh, you know, I've never really dealt with migraines before. And this seems weird because when people think of migraines, they think of head pain, headaches. But that's not what I was having. I was just having like lightheaded dizziness, but that's what she was saying. She thought it was just migraine. So I said, okay. So I had gotten actually on some medication, tried different medications starting in April of this year for that, and didn't see much of an improvement. The only time I wasn't from prescribed medication. It was actually from Excedrin. I found when I took Excedrin migraine, it would really help. And so I was just kind of pushing through, didn't let it really affect me. You know, I was still able to do regular, you know, life things, and just went on about life. Back in August, on August 31st, I was really dealing with the migraine issue heavily. Like my head was hurting. I was just really dizzy. At one point I felt like I was going to pass out. So my doctor had given me a different medication to try. And unfortunately I had a really bad reaction to that medication. I ended up developing at the time something called akathisia, which I had to do research on it because I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a thing, but basically the medicine interfered with dopamine receptors in my brain, and it was causing like my body just to be restless. Like immediately when I took the medication, I got really anxious. My body got really restless. I couldn't sit still. My body kept jerking and moving. And it was frightening. Like I got really hot. It was just a terrible experience. And so I dealt with those specific symptoms for weeks. Some days were better than others. Some days I would just be really anxious. It also, because it was interfering with my brain, it was causing like, I wasn't necessarily depressed, but it was causing like different type of side effects and symptoms mentally that just were just completely off, because I wasn't feeling that way. I was already dealing with, of course, the death of my grandfather, but it had not hit me like that, like the medication had. So I was dealing with that for a couple of weeks, and finally I kept it to myself for a while. But I finally ended up telling my parents about it, and I ended up actually going home for about a week or so, because I was just heavily dealing with it, to the point where I ended up having to go to the hospital again for it, because I was just really just dizzy. Like it was just, the symptoms were just bad, and it got to the point where the symptoms kind of, as far as like the anxiousness, it was still around, but it wasn't as terrible as, and then I started getting more and more dizzy again. And so I ended up going actually to the hospital for that, trying to figure out what it was. They thought at the time, which now thinking back, I'm like, whatever. At the time, they thought it was just anxiety. And I was like, okay, I don't think it's just anxiety. I know that I'm dealing with something. And that is one thing I want to point out. Black women always have to do more in order to advocate for themselves medically. I see it time and time again where Black women are not heard and are not understood when it comes from a medical perspective. And people think that we are overreacting for whatever reason that is. So if you are dealing with anything medically, if you feel in your body that something is not right, advocate for yourself. If one person isn't listening to you, go to the next one and continue to go, because I've realized that that is something that I've personally dealt with and have been dealing with over the past couple months, and it's not fun. I don't know why people do not listen to Black women when we say that something is wrong with us, or they just chalk it up to, oh, you're just anxious. Come to find out something was really going on, and I'll share in a little while. So yes, please advocate for yourself. But so I was dealing with that. I ended up going because I was constantly feeling like I was dizzy and swaying on a boat, like just going back and forth. My body just, in my mind, it just felt like everything was just moving. So I ended up going to an ENT, and they didn't find anything wrong because they thought it was, you know, something wrong with like my ears, because like my ears would feel really full. So I'm like, oh, maybe I have like an ear infection or something. Something's going on with my ears. Went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. Everything was fine. They referred me back to a neurologist, so I went to go see another neurologist. And at this time, I was really trying to research what was going on with me, because it was to the point where it was just affecting my everyday life. And so I went to start seeing another neurologist, and she started doing a bunch of tests. Like, I've had so many different MRIs, CAT scans, head scans, blood work, just so many different things over the past couple of months. And she, again, was tracing it back to migraines. What I didn't know was there's a thing called vestibular migraines, which I've now done a bunch of research on, but they caused the symptoms that I was dealing with, the constant like dizziness, constant swaying on the boat. Because your body feels off kilter, it does give you a lot of anxiety, because it's like your body just doesn't know what's going on. So it was causing heavy anxiety for me, and it was just to the point where it was like, some days I would have a lot of head pressure as well. Some days I would have head pains and actually be headaches, and it would just be an everyday thing. It was 24/7 constant dizziness, nonstop. And so I was, working with her, and she ended up putting me on a medication to try out. It was actually 2 different medications. One of them, within the first week, could automatically tell it wasn't working for me. It was actually making me worse. So I got off of that medication. And then the next medication that she actually put me on, I was on for about 6 weeks, and still no relief. To this day, I'm actually still dealing with it. It's something that I've been able to cope with, something that I continue to try to push through and get through my days. I don't want to, just be stuck in the bed all the time, but it is that I'm always just lightheaded and dizzy and always feel like I'm rocking on a boat. Some days are worse than others, which I found that what you eat can affect that. Any supplements you take that can affect that. What you drink can affect that. So I have now switched over my diet to try to follow it. It's a diet called Heal Your Headache Diet, and basically it's things that you are able to remove from your diet that are supposed to help with headaches, migraines, stuff like that. So I have switched over to that. I'm also taking different supplements that are supposed to help with it as well. I actually just tapered off of the medication that I was on, because it just was not helping, and it was actually making symptoms worse. It was causing like heart palpitations and stuff like that I was dealing with. So I ended up getting off that medication and seeing another neurologist. This is now like my 5th neurologist this year. But she's actually been really helpful, really supportive. So we're starting, going through this process and continuing to do that. I'm trying to stay encouraged. I'm trying not to get down. Again, some days are worse than others, I'm going to be honest. Some days I just can barely move, like I cannot leave the bed. Other days I'm able to do whatever I need to do. I'll go you know, run to the store, able to walk around, you know, clean up the house, stuff like that. But it definitely is a process. So if you are watching this and you deal with vestibular migraines or anything similar to this, I definitely feel for you. I never knew it was a thing. I thought migraines, again, was just a head pain, but it's so much more than that. And I'm learning more and more about it every day. So if you're somebody that deals with it, I am so sorry that you have to deal with this, because this is absolutely awful. And I am just looking forward to the day where I'm actually able to find a treatment plan that is actually 100% effective, that I don't have to feel this way anymore, because it can be discouraging. You know, some days I'm like, you know, God, I am praying and praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing all of this stuff. Like, why is this not being taken away? And so even now I'm like, I have to take a second because I feel really dizzy. So yeah, so that is what I've been dealing with as far as health wise. Because of that, I have not been able to go to the gym, so I'm not actually allowed to go work out at all. And we're still in the middle of COVID, which I'll talk about in a second, but I'm not able to go work out. I'm not really able to exercise at all. And I am kind of limited, not really limited, but pretty much limited on what I'm able to eat and make on a regular basis. So that is why I have not been filming any of my like what I eat in a day content, fitness content, health content. Like, I have not been filming that because honestly my health has just not been the greatest. The medication I was on previously had made me gain a lot of weight rapidly, and luckily I'm starting to figure out that a lot of that was water retention and water rate, because immediately when I stopped taking the medication, which has just been within the past week and a half, my weight started going down again, which I'm very happy about. But I did end up gaining weight because of the medication. So that is why I have not come on and filmed those type of videos for you all. Hopefully I'll be able to soon, because I'm just believing that God is going to heal me from this, and that this is just going to be a memory of mine and I won't have to deal with this for long. But when I am actually able to start back working out again and actually, you know, filming content around my diet and stuff, then I definitely will make sure to do that. But it's just going to take some time. So because of that, it's going to take time for me to try to, you know, find content to film. I know there's other things that I can film outside of that, but just, you know, getting the energy to get up, film, edit, do all of that, it's just going to take me some time. So I appreciate you all's patience and just support. A lot of you have reached out to me online via my social media, Instagram, you know, Facebook, whatever, and have been checking on me, seeing how I am, seeing where I am, seeing when I'm going to film, which I really appreciate you all's love and support. And I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but it was important for me to get myself together mentally, and trying to get myself together physically. So I appreciate you all hanging on. This year has been crazy. We are still in the middle of a pandemic, which I want to stress this. Please stay home. Please wear a mask. I know it's difficult. I personally live by myself, so there are a lot of days and weeks that I go without interacting with really any humans outside of if I go to the grocery store or if I run to like CVS or something. I don't get to interact with people on a regular basis. I'm by myself constantly, so I understand it is tough. It's difficult, but I also know the effects of what COVID can do, and how it can affect people. I lost my grandfather because of it, and so I want to make sure that I am advocating and, you know, using my voice, using my platform to encourage you all. Please wear a mask. Please social distance. Please stay at home if you can. I know a lot of people are back to work, whatever, but the amount of people I see on social media just out and about, going to clubs, going to parties, like hanging out, it's just, it's infuriating for me, because it's like all of this could have been avoided. Like, I know, you know, God has a plan for everybody. I understand that, and I don't want to harp on the fact of losing my grandfather, and I also know that anger is a part of the grief process, but it just is so infuriating to see that people just do not care. Like, people are not going out wearing masks. You're going to clubs, going to hookah bars, whatever, every single weekend hanging out. It's like come on, please. I beg of you. I don't want other families to have to continue to deal with what my family is personally dealing with, what I'm dealing with. I never ever want anybody to have to feel the pain that I personally have felt over the past 4 months from losing somebody that I was absolutely crazy about. So I beg of you, please stay home. Please protect yourself, protect your family. You know, limit your activity out and about. We are not, people say that we are in a second wave, oh, it's getting worse, but we never got out of the first wave. Like, numbers have been crazy this whole time, and for there to be over 260,000 people that have lost their lives is just absolutely asinine to me. And so I just ask, please do your part to save others around you. It may not heavily affect you personally. If you were to catch the virus, you may, you know, be able to push through it and be fine, but you never know who you could come in contact with that it could, you know, affect. I don't know where my grandfather contracted the virus from. He was wearing a mask. He wasn't, you know, out and about as much. You know, he was a pastor, but they were, him and his wife were both pastors, and they were doing church online. Like, you know, I don't know where he, you know, contracted it from. But I just encourage you all, please stay home. I know this video is kind of scattered, and a lot has been talked about, a lot has been shared. I just wanted to be transparent with you all on what is going on with me and where I've been and what I am doing. There's just been a lot of changes to happen, and so I'm just adjusting to it all. The past week or two has actually been more positive than other weeks for me. Good things have actually been happening, which I'm very, you know, excited about, because there have been some days where I was just very, very low. So I'm glad to see that good things are transpiring, and there's a lot of changes that are happening, have happened, and that are going to be happening. I want to share with you all that I am going back to school. I was accepted to the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign, to the MBA program there. So I'm going to be working on my MBA starting in January, with a specialization in digital marketing and entrepreneurship. So I'm going back to school, and that in itself is interesting to me. Listen, I don't know what I'm doing. I know it's something that I've been wanting to do, but I'm just like, girl, is this the time that you need to be piling on stress? Like, sis. But the opportunity presented itself. I applied. I got my acceptance letter last Friday. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to, you know, be going back to school again, learning, keeping my mind busy, and just getting through these next 2 years. It is a 2-year program, and it is all online. So that's another wrench that I'm throwing in life on stuff that I have to do. So maybe my content's about to change. Maybe it's going to be, you know, content about me going back to school and still working full time. I am still at my job. I'm still working. Thankfully, I still have a job. I know a lot of people have been affected by the pandemic. So I'm still working full time. I'm going to be in school. Technically it's full time for grad school. It's there are 8-week semesters. So for the whole January through May, I would have taken 4 classes. So it's going to be a ride. So that's definitely something new on the horizons that is happening, along with other things which I'll touch on and share later. But there's just a lot of newness that has been happening this whole year, and a lot of adjusting. And so I am learning to just give myself grace. That's what I have to do. I have to give myself grace, and just acknowledge the fact that I am still pushing, I'm still living, still breathing, and that's, that in itself I'm grateful for. But if you are still here, thank you so much for, sticking in on this video. I know it was a lot. And I know I talked about a lot, but I wanted to at least tell you all where I've been, what's been going on, and how I'm doing. Yeah, I think that that's everything I want to talk about today. I don't know when. I'll have to figure out a filming schedule. Let me know what you all want to see. I'll do my best to film whatever content that I'm able to. But yeah, let me know what you all want to see on this channel. If you want to start seeing me, like the back to school process. I know some people enjoy watching stuff like that. I'm getting my life organized, so if you want to see my new productivity and organization planning stuff, then let me know that as well. I'll try to think of different content, and maybe I'll put a poll or something on the community tab for you all to vote on. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please make sure that you are subscribed. I would appreciate it. I haven't been uploading, but the family has been growing. We are now at, I believe, 11.5K, I think 11,500, which is crazy to me. I don't know. That's just wild to me that there are that many of you on this channel. Just thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm just thankful. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you all in my next video, whenever that may be, hopefully soon. I love you guys so much. Stay safe. Be blessed. Bye.